Good. That's audience here.
Okay. All right, well, that was easier. All right, I'm going to call to order the Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting. It's May 14th, 2025. We are at North Kingstown High School, room 110. And it is 4:30. All right. So why don't we just go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Sherry Kennedy, school committee member and parent and twins at DMS.
I'm Caroline Serio. I'm a parent. My daughter is in kindergarten student.
Pam Panero, community member, parent of middle school and high school.
Susanna Tingley, parent of a senior.
Colleen Schnack, school nurse at Stony Lane.
My proposer,
We've spoken.
parent and youth athletics coach.
Sally Davidson, Equity, Belonging, and Community Engagement Coordinator.
Next is citizens' comments, and we do not have anyone for citizens' comments. And then, can someone make a motion to move the approval of the minutes to the end of the agenda?
Liz is locked. She's in the front door.
Oh,
So I'm going to go Jack.
okay. Perfect.
I will make a motion to move approval of the minutes to the end of the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Actually, next I have Rhode Island Healthy School Coalition update, but Karen isn't able to come today. So, I know, I don't think there's anything new, but she does have a newsletter that goes out every month, kind of like giving an update on stuff. So, I'll make a note, I can forward that to everyone if you don't have it. All right. And then the next thing I wanted to kind of talk about, which I thought would be good, is after our presentation last time from the North Kingstown Prevention Coalition, kind of ideas of maybe things that we could do next. I asked Susanna to see if she wanted to go walk around and look at signs at the high school, but I thought maybe even checking out where are the signs, maybe making a list, just because I feel like that might be even like a first good step to say. I always feel like we say things like, there are signs in all the buildings, but I don't know that we actually know that there are, because I don't know if anyone's actually checking. So I thought that was one thing. Maybe two even, I'm sure we could figure out how to go. Like, what do you think? Like to the other, like I would think the middle school also has signs, but I would think the elementary probably does not.
Which signs are you referring to? The no vaping?
The no vaping signs.
Yeah. Yeah, all the buildings have them as far as
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
And legally they have to.
Is it more just like the rule though, no vaping? Like, I was thinking
Yes.
more informational, like, like a picture with the vape and what's in it or something, like, so if you're sneaking in the bathroom, when you sit down, they'll look at the door, maybe you can see what you're actually putting in your
That's
body.
not a bad idea.
I like
visual.
that.
To where to post
Posters,
them, where to
yeah.
post them, like right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Like locker rooms and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where if anybody is potentially going to do it,
Just
they maybe have a
second thought.
second thought, like,
Yeah, I like
they
that.
might still do it, but it's
Yeah.
give them at least something to think about.
Yeah, and Kayla said that she can get those, I think, right?
I think so. Like that's why she couldn't come to this meeting, and I think she's going to try to come as a guest. Where like if we have it on the agenda, she can speak. But I think they have a lot of signs that they could give the school department that so we wouldn't have to worry about seeing if the budget had it for us to create it. I like that idea, and that's why I also was thinking. I was just curious what the
What's
signs
out there. Yeah.
looked like.
Yeah, I feel like right now all that is hanging are those metal. They're usually metal.
Metal.
The official ones. That
And is
say
there a certain
safe
spot they
school
should be in?
grounds and-
Or is that just they just need to be in the building?
Most of them I think are posted on the outside of the building.
Like by law, I think.
Oh, yeah. So it's
by
it might be
entry.
outside.
Yeah. So it's like for visitors, students.
Okay.
Right. There may be some in the buildings too. But yeah, as a committee, I mean, could do an audit of sorts where you visit the buildings and look for what kind of signage exists and what we'd like to potentially see added.
Yeah.
Like
the elementary, you might want those more in a public place in case like the kids had a question.
yeah.
Oh, the vaping signage. But I would think maybe like middle and high school, again, where you might be likely using it, like a reminder in the bathrooms and the locker rooms.
Yeah, and I like your
Nurses'
idea.
offices,
Yeah.
posters.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So yeah, why don't we,
What do they look like in the nurse's office?
Yeah.
Is it just a no vaping or is it information or?
No, it's like a public service type. I haven't been in all the schools, but I was just at Woodford Middle School and I was at Davisville Middle School, and it seemed to be like a public service type information with like resources.
like inside the nurse's office?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I like your idea though, like in the bathroom, or maybe it would, I don't know, get kids, I know we talked about too, like if
Maybe
they
it's
knew what's in it.
Could be. I don't know.
Have you
I don't know, I
just-
just used the bathroom.
Yeah, that's why well, that's why I picked that, just because I was like, maybe we would
Take a
here, we
tour.
might
We
as
can,
well
like,
walk
second
around
and
and
third
see
floor
like
ones,
where they
Yeah.
are, just because, okay, and maybe we could even just suggest, I don't know if we could even just send something out, like I could have Dr. Duver or Mr. Mesnag send out to the principals to be like, hi, could you just check on,
Where your vaping.
where your,
signs.
where your vaping signage is. Just to get an idea, and then, you know what, I'll ask Kayla, like, what those signage, if she has more, sort of, you know, like, what's in the vaping, like examples of what they have.
Maybe she could bring them for our next meeting if possible, I don't know.
Because I think if they're too preachy, the kids are just gonna shut them down. You know, like they don't.
Yeah, like images of the chemicals that they're
Yeah,
actually
I think simple,
inhaling or
yeah,
ingesting,
like,
whatever they're doing.
Is that really what you want to, let them make the decision, this is what
Right.
it is, kind of.
Do they have vape detectors in the bathrooms
They
or
do,
anything?
I
Like are
believe.
those all nice?
Except in the nurse's office.
Except in the nurse's
Oh.
office, really?
I think they have it in the high school nurse's office, but not, I know they don't have it at least as far as last year, they didn't have it at Wickford and Davisville. That's the contention.
Oh, well, so maybe we can add that just to audit it and see what's in the
Because
schools.
the kids know that the vaping detectors are in the nurse's
Oh.
office.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
The kids know or don't know?
They know.
Yeah, they know.
Also, they don't feel well.
Hmm.
I think they're gonna have a bigger problem. They're trying to go to the nurse's office and use a vape. I mean, not you, but
Yeah, they've
any
been
of the
caught.
nurses.
Yeah, they've been caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but if they go into the bathroom, I mean, you don't smell the vape.
Right?
What kind of devices is it? Just it's not just a smoke detector, right? It's like sensitive to like
To vaping.
to vaping in general.
Are the vape detectors in the middle school bathrooms as well, or is it just the high school?
I think so. I think they're in the middle school.
Budget.
I think the doors are open too, aren't they, at the high school? And was there still a teacher kind of there and limiting the kids? And that new pass system is also limiting
Right.
how many
number of
kids are out,
who
yeah.
and about.
But it's good just, I think, to ask the question,
Yeah,
because I also think it would be good, I don't know that they communicate to the parents, like, hey, there are vaping detectors in the bathroom, or any of that stuff.
I think it's more, you know, because, you know, even if they don't vape at school, once they get outside in their car, you know, it's just to have the information, I think, because if they're vaping, they're going to find a place, you know, we just want them to make healthy decisions, hopefully.
I know, after Kayla last week was telling us, or last time was telling us about all these little things kids can buy, you can buy on Amazon,
Yeah.
which I feel like is almost education for parents that don't know it. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, there's so much other stuff out there. So yeah, I think the signage is good. Is there other stuff you think maybe we could investigate more, or that we want to look into? All right. I might just keep that on the agenda every time, just sort of as a kind of, is there new stuff coming out or anything that
I had thought just that South County Coalition, the time that they came, they had a real hands-on, again, visual
yes.
for kids. Like they actually brought the chemicals that they could see. So not like, it was like a quick visual, you know, like, so if we could have that, I don't know, at any enrichment day, I know that elementary schools have like those weeks or any of the open houses, or, you know, the harvest thing, I don't know.
Is there like a month for,
Like
you know, like
I don't know.
reading month, or, you know, it's
Yeah,
how
but even
everything
at the
has
high
a
school, just to
thing.
have it set up, somebody
Like,
there,
like-
when the kids are passing,
Yeah.
you know,
I
hey,
think
on their
there
way to the
were some
cafeteria.
open houses. I feel like.
Well, they have that in plain sight, but that's a lot for the parents to go in and look at.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but this may be just outside of like the cafeteria when they were passing and the main hall there and the senior row. I don't know,
like a
just
display.
like a display,
Yeah.
you know?
What about like at VMS orientation? I know I have that coming up for my son.
Yeah, that
VMS
would be good.
orientation, like just have like a table there. They don't have to like preach or anything with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna pique curiosity for people
Yeah.
to come in and, oh,
Yeah.
what's this? You know, oh, what's this? You know, people will walk by
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll even, you know, grab some parents' attention too.
Yeah.
Parents don't even know what they look like anymore, really.
Yeah.
They disguise
I
them
mean-
pretty well these days.
I've seen them like kippah, like I've seen like the disguises,
I would agree, because I mean, my kids are at UMass and it's their first year, and I will say, I always feel like when you have the like introduction, it's overwhelming, all the stuff that is there, but I think maybe there is ways to figure out, to make it a little more, I do think you could touch it versus if you're just at a table, I don't know that parents would necessarily walk up. And then I like the idea, like even, I don't know, like an assembly or some sort of event, so maybe, we could ask Kayla too, like is there any sort of assembly they could have at the school, even if it was like a half-hour thing, just to kind of introduce it to the kids, and then have like this touch thing outside, so they.
Or do they do an assembly? Because, you know, the high school does do assemblies on different things. I mean, they just did like I think it was a drunk driving one, they just did
before
this.
prom season.
You know, so like, is that one that they already incorporate? I don't know, I'm just saying.
No, but I think it's
Another
something good to look
question.
at, because I sometimes think we wait till high school, but I feel like middle school is sort of
Or even
kids are-
elementary.
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Proactive instead
Yeah,
of
being
reactive.
being
Well, I
proactive.
only know about
Yeah.
the high school one, because I'm just saying, maybe they do. I mean, elementary schools do assemblies too. I don't, do they
Yeah.
already address it?
I'd like
I
to
don't
see it
know.
at the elementary level, so that, again, like, just like we did with cigarettes.
Yeah.
By the time they encounter it, they know what's in it and can make a more informed decision about just trying, you know, like.
Even if it's just like the fifth, you know,
Right.
the ones
Fourth and
transitioning
fifth grade.
into,
Right,
like,
fifth
late
grade.
now, fifth grade
Oh,
going
yeah, I
into,
look
they'll
at
be a
some of
little
our
more
fifth
mature.
graders and I'm thinking,
Well, I even, I agree, I think,
I
Yeah.
can probably tell you a few.
Yeah.
it's quite the
Um,
class.
I also, yeah, I agree, because I think too, even in fourth grade, because I also feel like kids are now getting phones younger, so they just have, you know, like things just come up, I feel like on the phone, they might not even know what it
Yeah.
is.
And sometimes the assemblies, I think they zone out. You know, I think you have to be careful where you put that in. I don't know.
Yeah,
A lot of kids.
you're right, like how can we figure out doing it not?
To make
As
it
many kids,
meaningful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, like trying to figure out. And it might be good just to, for us to have information from, like, what are the schools doing? Because I feel
Yeah.
like that's also.
That's kind of like a starting point,
Yeah.
right?
Alright. Alright, let me just kind of recap. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna ask Kayla too to bring some signage that she might have. We'll reach out to the schools to see like what they have for signage. And then also I'll reach out to find out like, are they doing any assemblies in elementary school and middle school, you know, around vaping or kind of what? Because I know right now in the health curriculum, it's 4th, 7th, I think it's 9th and 12th, which was in the presentation Sally had done a while ago. It's in the curriculum at least, but
And I think it is maybe not like treated as deeply, right, or like gone over at length
Yeah.
in the other grades, but I think it's at least superficially like mentioned
Mentioned it.
and touched on in grades besides 4, 7, 9, 12.
Yep.
They just have like, you know, much longer units of study in those grades.
What about even like at the Harvest Fest, you know, like it's like a ghoulish time, and you know, you can have your table set up and like it's a touch and feel kind of time season that might be a time where parents are there, like kids are dancing, or kids could wander over. I don't know if that would set it down on the Harvest Fest.
It feels like a little bit of a down.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah. I see your point.
You have access to a lot of people. Yeah.
I'm feeling people like might just.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a PTO event or something that they do that might be appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know what other
Like,
big
you know, even
PTO
just,
events
like,
are now.
Educating the PTO as like a resource option. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'd be good, because I do know too, actually Lydia's not here, but she's trying to get all the PTOs together to kind of like, you know, just share ideas and stuff. So, I think it'd be good to reach out to PTOs to them to have just, you know, there might be something going on that, or even something.
Or just to know, maybe they could reach out to the North Kingstown Prevention Coalition to do something if they ever wanted something done at a PTO event. Like they might not know about that resource.
No, it's true. I think that's a good idea.
Because they then can have ghoulish results.
Yes.
You do something.
I just feel like we've created a problem. It's so accessible.
Oh my goodness.
And we have to, I just think the only way is going to be either like making it illegal, making it priced so high, which is going to take legislation, or we really need to educate kids at a young age, just like we did cigarettes and say no to drugs, you know, like a campaign. We really need to hit kids young. Because I think by the time they're hooked, it's not easy to get them off of it. So I think prevention is the way to go, and just like a couple of a couple of lessons is not enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
I mean, my kids are older, I'm thinking of younger kids, but you know.
Well, the more they hear it, the more they're likely to retain it, or to make an impact.
When we had the tobacco use program that came into the elementary school, they used to come to 5th grade. Remember when they used to do
the
that?
doctors.
Yeah, well, and they would teach all about it. I wonder if the coalition would come in to start in 5th grades and do one class at a time. You know, just like they did, because it was a small group. I think it was very effective because the kids were kind of interested. I don't know.
no, I know, because I do feel like you're right, because I feel like the prevention thing is sort of like that's how cigarettes became, you know, not as everyone doing them. And then another thing I was thinking of the PTOs, I know when I was at Forest Park, we one year had the police come to speak about like things with cell phones and different stuff. So I think when I reach out to them, they might even have some ideas, because even maybe the parents, you know, talking or realizing that it's actually becoming a problem, because you might not.
I forgot Stoney used to do whatever, I can't remember what day, but a big day where they went around to all stations, and one of them was like helmet safety, or you know, like
Hamilton did?
No, well, Stoney did.
Hamilton did too.
I know they don't do that anymore, because they can't allocate an entire day to like something else. Their schedules are so, it's hard enough to get health in for 40 minutes once a month, you know? It used to be fun. It used to be like the whole day.
Yeah.
And we'd have like a theme for the whole day.
But there always had to be an education piece.
Yeah.
Like it always had to be tied to something.
Yeah, multicultural.
Which is unfortunate, because that would have been like the opportunity to like do a quick station on.
So we do like sustainability and wellness fair in the spring. Something like that. They would be, like PTO would be open to doing something.
Maybe. Fishing Cove last year did a wellness, I want to say it was a week, and I think they had like Laid Back Fitness come, they had smoothies, so,
Do they still do like jump rope?
the jump rope part,
Or any, like, anything it could, I just think repeated messaging wherever you could get it would be effective.
So could we create something to say, hey, here's a resource if you're ever going to do a wellness week, consider running these activities about vaping. Like if, like, you know, I don't know, from the wellness committee, like you don't have to do it, but here's like a way to put this together. Because the more easier you make it, the more likely they're able to do
like
it.
a field day? Is field day still a thing?
So they have 5th grade farewell, which is a field day for 5th graders,
Okay.
but it's all fun. Like it's all play, It's all play, and then they have a K through 4 field day in 5th graders. But it's all, again, it's all like activities, and just play pretty much.
So
It's
we're
not-
touring.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
fun day, it's not
meant to be
really,
a fun day.
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's all
Celebration.
outside. Yeah, it's like their fun day they look
Yeah.
forward to.
But no, I think we have some good ideas, and I think too, reaching out to the PTOs, I'll send them, because I feel like they might have ideas of stuff they're doing to be like, oh, we could fit something in
Yeah,
with that.
Even one of their PTO meetings, if they, let parents know that they're gonna be having it, maybe parents would go
oh yeah,
and-
they got presentation on PTO, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because I think that it's funny, when I feel like too, the more I was like, I don't know that as a parent, if you know how prominent vaping has necessarily become, like you might not, especially if you have like a younger child, you're probably not thinking about it. And then all of a sudden they're in middle school and you're like,
Right.
And
it's all
that's where
around.
I'm
You
going.
know what I'm saying?
Next,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're doing next year with my oldest, so.
yeah.
To DMS, is it a thing? Is it?
I don't think it,
Have you noticed anything with the girls at all, or?
my girls are 6. I will say that they definitely, like, one kid found a vape on the bus and like, it was, so they're talking about it, I think, and that's the other thing, because the 6th graders are with the 8th graders, and I feel like, and I think also if you have older siblings,
Or
Or
the
other
parents
kids that
just
parents are
avoid
using
the
it,
bathroom
so.
because they don't wanna deal with any of that.
they,
Just like we avoided the
Yes.
bathroom 40 years ago.
Yeah,
yes,
Or more.
Yeah.
More than 40 years ago.
well, it's
I
true.
mean, it's always
it's
been the
true,
way,
yeah.
starting in middle school.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was always kids smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
in middle school and high school. Now they vape them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's always like something.
I don't know if it's an increase, when they're more, I don't know about that, but there's always gonna be people smoking.
Yeah, and I feel like the hard thing is, and I know, is that it's not like you could smell it, like it's not like a teacher could smell it.
Right.
So I feel like vaping is just like,
It's just so much more under the.
under the radar.
Under the radar.
Sometimes they smell sweet,
Yeah,
and
you smell cherry or
sweetness, but
strawberry.
yeah.
that could be their lotion, you can't really,
Yeah, you can't really,
or
right.
body works,
Spray
Right,
or
right, like,
something.
it's the same, like I think for the preventative is sort of,
Well,
I think would be more impactful, because I think once a kid tries it,
Right.
I feel like it's very addicting.
Because for cigarettes, we have nicotine gum, nicotine patches, there's not necessarily something for the vaping, I don't know.
Now, did Rhode Island ban flavored? I think they banned flavored vapes, like flavored, so it's just like
I believe
straight.
they did
I
too,
think
but
they did.
I still think you can get
I think you can even get
Yeah,
it
I think you
online,
can
can't
get it
you?
online.
I think it might be one of those.
I don't know if everyone's a buy,
Yeah,
buy
right.
it.
I think I've heard.
Yeah, there's no way to
Yeah, they probably,
follow through.
Right,
yeah, because I don't know if they have people like checking.
Are there monitors, like people walking around in high school, middle school?
I think high school has teachers doing duties, so they have to be outside during, passing time, yeah.
well, they do have that electronic pass, which is easier to track how many kids are outside of the classroom. 'cause
Oh, they have to
have-
take an electronic.
It's an electronic,
Yeah.
it's all
Smart
tracked,
pass.
it's a smart pass,
Okay.
middle school too, right?
Like an
Yeah,
air tag, like an
too.
air tag type of thing?
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, so they know
And
where
they
you
only-
are in the building.
They
or
usually only
whatever.
give so many passes at a time, so they have to wait till the kids get back in order to get one.
Yeah, I will say, I can speak for DMS, they're pretty strict about it. Like, they won't let too many kids have a pass in a class,
Okay.
and they'll, so, which is good, because otherwise, you talk about, there's a little better control under what the kids are doing.
The flavored was banned January 1st, 2025.
All right, we have a lot of good stuff, so I'm gonna, do like a lot of follow-up, so at the next meeting, we'll have a lot of answers on that, so. All right, let's move on to the next thing is, the health and wellness policy. I kind of wanted to discuss, I think in the past we have not discussed like implementation and the review process. So I just, do you guys want to take a little time so we could read through it? I know there's a bunch of us who actually helped me on it. But I thought it would just be good to kind of have a plan on, what's going on. I'm sure the schools are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but I feel like we haven't actually had any process. And so Trish, do you, I know you,
Well,
you might have some more insight.
yes, there's, thanks. there is a process that is like a playbook from the Healthy Schools Coalition. And it's basically checklists. And it's, first we would give that to them, and we've done it, but many years ago. There would be like a self-checklist. Because of course, we don't want to go, we want things to be in order as much as possible. So we would share that with the principals. This is the document that's going to be used. We would be divided up, or other people within the district too, would go around just to see that we were meeting, what are we meeting, what do we need to work on, and create an action plan. And we've never got there. We've been working on the curriculum last year and things like that.
Yeah.
So yes. And so, there is a workbook, so to speak, that we're going to be able to use through the Rhode Island Coalition. Once we have to, did you say that this is up for review?
No, it's not up for, it says every 3 years it should be up for review. So there actually is on,
3 years? Yeah.
I think I sent it out to everyone, I'm gonna attend it. On May 20th, there's a webinar, so I'll get more information on how we should be tracking everything. But yes, it's supposed to be reviewed every 3 years, so that would be in 26. So, which I feel like the year goes by really fast.
Didn't you do that checklist thing like right prior to us working on this? Because I have a vague recollection of you presenting like the check marks and like all this stuff.
But it could be taken, we did kind of like a broad stroke.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got derailed
We
for
did.
other things.
We did.
And so it would just be, so yeah, we did the broad stroke, but then it's the accountability, it's the action plan, and it's just tweaking things really for the most part, because if you look individually at different departments, curriculum, just what's going on in the building, sometimes it's just a matter of us all connecting it onto one document. So I'm not expecting to have any big aha moments when we do it.
Okay.
But it would be something, for next year.
Yeah, so I thought it'd just be good to talk about it. And yeah, I agree. I feel like we got sort of derailed by some stuff but now we didn't. Even I was looking, and I need to follow, but we have in the policy like who should be on the committee, and I feel like a lot of the parents have dual roles, but then I was noticing that we didn't have like we don't have we had a phys ed teacher who was a parent, but that person's not on anymore. Which could also phys ed and have a care sort of the same person. And then the other thing I noticed in the policy was like a school counselor, social workers, or psychologist, which I know when we actually had someone come from the high school was really helpful to have her come and speak. So I'm not sure, like we added that to the policy, but Sally, I'm counting you as the district school administrator.
Yeah, I think these are recommended, right? It's like
we don't have to check
committee members.
We don't have to check every box. That's why I wasn't sure.
I'm pretty sure we did that purposely, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes, we did. I
Because
remember.
as you know, attendance can be tough at
And
every meeting.
Some of us cross cover.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I'm a health professional and I'm a parent.
Yes.
So, and there's others who are health professionals.
We're pretty close.
I think we are. Yeah.
The important thing is that the majority should not be school
Work for
department
the
employees.
school.
Yeah.
That's a requirement versus a suggestion.
Do we meet that, right?
Yes, we do meet that.
Yeah. One thing I did see on it that I liked was saying having someone from each building, but I was like, well, maybe that's having someone come to each meeting. But then I was like, maybe we should invite like someone from each building to each meeting next year, just to sort of come tell us what's going on at their school.
Oh, kind of rotate.
I like that.
Yeah, like rotate.
Because it's not a major commitment for them either. I think
I feel like, I also feel like it'd be hard if we get too big, because then to get quorum is harder.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe we could just invite someone from each building just to kind of
that's
tell us what's, what they're doing, or even like
or if
maybe
they have concerns
or what they think we could be doing
better.
Or I like the idea of just inviting them Because then you may have a concern, but it may not be that big of a deal, but seeing you get invited, you're like, oh, let me
Right.
hit on that topic. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Or they can even just share with us what's going on in their building.
What is on page 4, the C? The curriculum director or a representative will report biannually to the committee.
I actually had that on the list, and so I was thinking that it probably wouldn't be bad to have Dr. Clark come, because then she could actually probably educate us on what exactly is in the health curriculum about,
Or
you know,
how the new
certain
health
things.
curriculums are doing.
Yeah.
Because we were the ones
Right.
who,
Yeah,
you know, so I wasn't sure, because I don't think we've really done that.
I agree. So I had that on my notes too. I'm glad we're always on the same page.
We are.
Scott Carr is, seems to be the health education teacher that's kind of leading the charge, you know, and just kind of coordinating with the health education.
For both K through 5 and 6
Just
through
K
12.
through 5. And I think,
Because the 6 through 12 is relatively new as well.
yeah, I don't know who, I know with Julie McGuire, maybe John Conman are involved.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to Dr. Clark. She probably could say who
would
should
be,
come.
right,
Who
yeah,
should
she
come.
would tell you.
So, yeah, so I think that's something for next year we should. But yeah, I just wanted to see if there was any others, like, you know, topics or things that you thought we should maybe look into. And then I also was looking at too, there was just making sure that we're doing like parent and guardian nutrition and wellness promotion, but even just finding out, like, are we sending things out to the parents maybe, like, to know about like the committee, what the school's doing, you know, just to kind of,
Well, I think
which it might be in the
I think
newsletter
Trish
already.
every month
Yeah.
includes, you know, education, nutrition education within the menu.
And on the child nutrition page too.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying as far as through the principal's newsletters or something like that.
And they might already be doing that. I think it's probably
They
goes back to
they
the
do pull
checklist,
up-
right?
Yeah, right,
Like-
yes, they do, it does go back to the checklist.
I feel like so maybe it's probably once we have the checklist, we'll have a better idea. So I'm hoping on the webinar that there'll be examples of checklists that we can kind of send out.
Do the elementary lessons, those go home to the parents too, right? That little paper booklet,
Yeah.
I do wonder though, like,
The kids.
promoting family wellness, if that really is the responsibility of the principal or some other part of the school department.
To like give
Because I know
information to
as a
us.
principal,
yeah.
they feel like their newsletters should be
Jam-packed.
succinct, and they go
Yeah.
like,
Oh my
oh,
God.
now I know.
It's-
And you don't read that
as a
by the
committee,
end
I
of
would
the
feel
day.
bad asking the principals to add like a piece about how families
Corner.
can, improve their health. So I wonder if there's some other facet of the school department that could take that on.
Like
Or if
create
there's some
something to send it out. Versus,
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Facebook page for the child nutrition department is amazing.
Yeah, like every Wednesday, it's
So-
automatic Wellness Wednesdays.
So maybe that's like just a resource to give, like to put to the PTOs, because they could share that to
Mhm.
their PTO
Mm.
Facebook pages.
Yeah,
And some of them do sometimes, but like, are they shareable? Are they public posts?
Yeah,
Because
NK
like
Child
maybe that's
Nutrition.
like putting
Yes.
together a resource packet for the PTO people might be
Yeah.
helpful, like, oh, did you know that Trish, every Wednesday, this would be great to maybe put on your Facebook.
Yeah, letting the PTO.
PTO,
I like
just
the
like
idea of the
helps
gathering of the PTOs, if Lydia
Yeah.
can pull it off, or
She
even
actually-
some of them.
She actually has done a great job, I will say.
No, that's fantastic.
And even like, we were all starting a group, so I'm on the DMS one, because we have a small PTO. And we were all like sharing our phone numbers and sort of like just figuring out stuff to do together, which is good, because right now the only thing they do is like count down to K together, because that's really from the school department, it needs the help of the PTO. I actually was just like, how do we get more people to like your page? Because maybe not everyone knows about it. Like,
But
that
if all the
means-
PTOs shared it
Yeah,
out, that
and
would be
so-
helpful.
I think that's a good
And
idea.
Sherry, you just saying that all the PTOs are involved in Countdown to K? I didn't know that.
Oh,
So
so yeah,
that's good for me to know for connectivity, that they are assisting.
Yeah, they have for a while.
yes,
Yeah,
they-
but I wouldn't know something
Oh.
like that.
no, you're right, actually,
Yeah.
See,
You're
that's
right.
crazy to me.
So actually, even Countdown to K would be a good place to even
Right, that's what I'm
have
saying.
something.
Have a wellness.
Yeah, so
It's not
the
only
PTO
for the
basically-
families, but it's also tapping into the PTO,
Yeah.
which can disseminate all the information.
Yeah.
And it's going out repeatedly on the menu, it goes out on how to sign on, and in
But it's
September,
crazy,
the big push of all the information that goes out, it's always.
I don't know how many people ask on this PTO page, what's for lunch? Where's the lunch menu?
Oh.
Like, it's something, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, I just get emails from parents like, do you have, I was like, do you not, I printed out, can you print it out? So I do like about middle school now, I don't have to worry about myself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking, you know how, I don't know what other elementaries do, but our elementary school does a STEAM day right before April vacation. I think it's the Friday before. And what if they didn't do a STEAM day? What if they did a health wellness day? Where it's still science, math, all that stuff, and they would, maybe that could be a way they add stuff about vaping and health, and that might just be, it'd
And
be
they do it
interesting
for-
for them too.
April vacation, you said?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
usually
they
do
do
it before April
before.
vacation. Do you do the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
we used to do something. Yeah, not a STEAM day, but we did like
Yeah, and the PTO
Yeah,
put that
that's
on,
what-
so
Wow.
maybe if all the PTOs got together and tried to do
Is
that
it-
again?
Is it like grant funded or some initiative?
I really don't
PTO?
know,
It's
but it's
PTO
been year
funded.
after year
Oh,
after year.
PTO funded.
I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
right.
Food for thought.
Yeah, and if they all share the information, it might be easier to coordinate to put it forward if they all have the
Right.
same,
Right, they might get a discount from different places
I
too.
think it's just sometimes just getting volunteers, you know, from the PTO, you know, every
Yeah.
PTO seems to have a different, you know, amount of volunteers.
Right.
Yeah, but I do think sometimes if you gave I think that's what Lydia's trying to do, is like, is there like, give an idea. So like the Countdown to K is really put on by the school department,
Yeah.
but the PTO goes and like, will have stuff set up for themselves, and they'll also,
Yeah, you
you
really
know,
just
have
like, you
like
need that,
watermelon or whatever.
yeah,
So.
you need that folder, like that magical folder that has all the programs already, like, this is how we're run, and we share them all. And like, I mean, I don't know, that's what we do for Girl Scouts, like, you know, we run some of the same programs every year. We create like a electronic file that has kind of the letter, the this, the that, you know, we try. And then, you know, repeat. It's a lot easier because new PTO people come in and sometimes they have no idea what they used to do because the
Right.
PTO turns over and nobody leaves anything. If that could happen, that would be super helpful.
Yeah.
But it's work. It's just time and work.
Pam, I have 18 Girl Scouts who are working on the Get the Foam Out grant.
Oh,
The
good.
majority of them are at Hamilton, which is starting next Monday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So they had their own project to do. They're doing their own badge, so
Yeah, they must. Are they
We-
working on their bronze or?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're probably working
Even
on
the
something.
sustainability person and I went and met, and it's just we have this built-in group who's working on a badge, and we're
Yeah.
launching the Green Initiative at Hamilton. So
That's
it just
perfect.
showed, yes, it was like, wow, this is, when they invited me, I was like, yes, I'm
That's
coming.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, I think that's like good ideas around this. I think once we have the webinar, I'm gonna have more direction on like the, how to track everything.
I wouldn't mind at some point, maybe next year, like hearing from the PE department and just like how PE, I mean, my kids don't like PE and it kind of boggles my mind why they don't like PE. I don't know, like, just to like the status of gym, how's it going?
Yeah.
You know, because it is in our wellness policy. Like, are there any issues? Like, do they have any struggles? You know, I don't know. Do we meet the, you know, I'm sure everyone's getting the recess and the whatever, all the minutes of gym. I don't know. It'd just be curious.
I wanted to join so we can not just meet but exceed
Right.
our standards for physical activity and physical education.
Yeah.
And
I'd be just curious, like, are there any, I don't know, anything? Is there something that the wellness committee could advocate for them? You know, I don't know, just how PE. We've never really had a lot of feedback from the PE world.
Yeah.
Like, we've done health, we've done nutrition, but we really haven't really gotten any feedback from PE.
So maybe we can like invite them to a meeting
Yeah.
and just kind of, because maybe
And
they
just
do have
kind
all
of
these
like,
ideas that they
That's
don't
a good
know.
way to start out the year, actually, because we never have had.
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
have. I mean, I'm not that I've been on forever, but you
No.
know, in my time, we haven't really had
Right.
anyone from PE come speak about PE and how it's going and if they have any, you know.
just from dealing with coaching, you know, boys anywhere from the age of 6 to 13, they need to get energy out. They're very different from, like, I have a little girl, she's only 2, but my niece, I mean, she'll sit and like, they're just so different. Boys need to get, I call them the yayas, right? Like the animals, like they need to get it out because sitting at a table and doing stuff, you know, whether it's coloring or an activity or even like an assignment, it's like, they start to get rambunctious. I mean, you know my kids, I mean, they're always, they're better be.
Very well.
But they do need to get,
Sure.
they need to get it out. And, you know, I pretty much coached the whole 3rd grade class in one way or another, but hey, if we can exceed what the, you know, bare minimum, I don't even know if what we're doing is bare minimum or we're just meeting standards.
Yeah, I think
It'd be
some of the
interesting.
hardest thing is trying to, I would say, finding the minutes in the day for school.
Right. And I feel like the classroom teachers do a really nice job doing movement breaks intermittently
For
throughout
sure.
the, at least on the elementary level. Because they know they're gonna lose the kids if they don't get them up and moving, and they can read the room and see. It's like, okay, let's get up,
Now, has that ever been an issue in Stony because it's open classroom?
You'd be amazed what, I just feel like we all underestimate how well we adapt to things. And there are very few students that transfer out of Stony Elementary. Like I can't even remember, maybe there was 1 3 years ago that went to our school. They just adapt. And just the formatting of the classrooms are just thoughtfully done so that, if the teacher's going to lecture, they all go up into, this area and sit on the floor and she lectures rather than yelling to the whole classroom. And they work collaboratively. Okay, you're going to be teaching this lesson. Okay, I'll teach it after you, and
So
I agree with you.
it works. It really
And I just, having my kids and myself I went to Hamilton and then I went to Stony and my kids went from Stony to Hamilton. And just an observation, not saying which way is better, but like in some respects, I always felt like there was more community at Stony because of that, because
Because of
the
the open
3rd grade
classrooms.
classroom, because they could really do some of that togetherness
Yeah.
stuff. Whereas like in Hamilton, it's more isolated because you have the walls. I mean, pros
it's
and cons to
traditional.
both.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
traditional
pros and
classrooms,
cons to both, but there was like a real sense of community that I felt was stronger at Stony because of some of that benefit. We always talk about the negatives of the lack of walls, but there are benefits to the lack of walls, and that was one of them that I saw.
everyone, they get used to it. They
Yeah.
get used to like the low level of noise all the time. It just becomes a constant.
Yeah, agree.
Because I've never really seen, I volunteered for Miss Demos,
Which is
and
different because they
Salucci, and
close
Brown
classrooms.
Salucci, but that's a closed classroom.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was in a out with the kindergarten, so I was
Kindergarten,
closed.
so
I
trying to
wasn't
make
out
them
in the
closed.
open.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like maybe there's ways to figure out how we could, I even know in the morning when the kids get dropped off in elementary, they are outside for a little bit before they get called in, which I think is, I don't think that's counted in the numbers because necessarily, obviously, you don't know that every kid, but maybe even just talking about how that's
15 minutes.
good that
Maybe
your
we
kids.
And now, is that organized, like, play or?
Not
or is it just
really.
kind of free range?
Just running around.
So-
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like anything like
Yeah.
And there's
organized by.
every elementary do it.
Hamilton cannot, we are doing it, but it's on a rotating schedule because there'd be too many kids at the same time running around.
Okay, that's good to know.
So
Yeah,
they
the
stand in
amount
their
of
lines
kids.
late, and then the
Yeah.
other kids, it's on a rotating schedule, it's too big.
It's too big.
It's too big.
So that's a good question though to ask, see what, like my kids went
Yeah.
to Forest Park and they did, but.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd
they
have
have
400
to,
kids
unless it's
running
bad
around.
weather, they have to,
Yeah.
because buses unload at 9:05.
Yeah,
Teachers don't start their academic day until like 9:25.
But that's
So-
like
So they have to,
district
they have to
decide
ride.
why.
Yes.
Unless
At some
it's
point
raining
that
and they
has
go
to
in and
change
they're
because
standing
a
in the
lot of
cafeteria.
why they don't have to move has been brought up.
Yeah, it's an important
Yeah,
one, for
that is
sure.
an
And things
important one.
things
I haven't
come up
heard
as
that
you
one.
have conversation,
Yeah,
you
I
realize.
haven't heard that one before,
Yeah.
but I knew there were things.
Oh, it's interesting. I wonder if you're the only school.
I know,
Because
is that
right
the
now
only
it's-
school that has to rotate like?
Right.
right, because it's so, yeah,
Because I don't know all the schools, like I don't know.
Yeah,
every
I-
elementary, so that would be something to maybe
yeah,
find
because I
out.
know, but I don't think
Stony
it's,
has a similar number. as
No,
Hamilton.
we're about,
I think we're a little less.
383 and we're what, 450?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bigger than I thought.
So you're about like 70 more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Out at recess, there's
Happen
plenty
at
of kids
any
that just go and stand in line. They just, like, that's
Yeah.
what they do. They want to get in line and, they don't run around.
So that's a choice, not a.
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Because
So,
we're
I
on a
mean, they
rotating
kind of,
basis.
maybe that's how they kind of
Could they-
control the amount.
Could they utilize the gym there and separate maybe kindergartners and first graders so they all have a chance to rotate?
It's a staffing situation.
Yeah, it's staffing, you
You know,
have
you don't wanna
TAs that
pull
work in the
staff
front,
in.
you've got kids emptying the building, emptying their buses, and then you have people in the front, some go to breakfast, you've got somebody there, somebody in the hallway, a couple people in front getting kids off the bus, then you have some around the building to make sure they're making it to the back, and then you have a couple in the back that are watching the kids, so it's, you don't think of all the staffing it needs, and to have another group of staff in the gymnasium wouldn't work. Just like our dismissals, the same thing. You can't move too many people in different spots because we have one person doing walkers, we have two people doing dismissal at the door because we're such a late school that we have so many pickups at the end of the day. So
Yeah, we do
it's
too.
it's a lot of staffing stuff, but.
So we need more money.
I'll open my checkbook.
I think that redistricting
We
is
make
really
it
gonna
work.
help when it eventually happens, because I think that it's gonna be a little bit more equitable.
Yeah, but it's good, like, it's just good to, like, even know how the schools are doing it. I think
Yeah.
sometimes, we don't realize that. And
Yeah, 'cause
then,
you don't want Hamilton shorted, or Hamilton
Yeah.
shorted, Stony's getting, and maybe that's why some of the parents were in an uproar about the redistricting in the first place, because maybe, not Forest Park, which one is it? It's Quinn. They're moving a lot of people over to Quinn and stuff, so maybe they do a rotating schedule too or something, or they don't have as much.
I don't think so.
yeah, I
I think
mean,
they're really small, Forest
Yeah,
Park.
yeah.
and
Forest
Quincy.
Park
You said
is
it's a
small,
staffing
yeah.
issue, so maybe, do they have less staff?
I don't think.
You have less
Quinn may
students, you're
have
gonna have less.
I think they have more.
yeah, you have less staff and less
Yeah.
students.
Probably okay.
I think it's just the sheer amount at Hamilton versus, like, if you think about, like, Forest Park is like
Yeah,
260.
and they don't have a
260
big
versus-
entryway either, like that
Right.
whole thing, the way the buses and the
The
cars
layouts,
funnel is
yeah.
like, the layout isn't great.
Yeah, and
I think
Hamilton's a little-
Vanessa has a little bit more room because they're a little further back. I mean, Hamilton's right there on the road.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot. I mean, Vanessa, and you've got neighborhoods, but you've got longer ways for the parents to drop off in the buses. I mean, Hamilton, when I used to do it,
Yeah,
it's like,
It shocks me how many
Yeah.
parents pick up and drop off something, this
Yeah,
is
no,
such a mess.
I avoided it as much as possible, only
Yeah.
when absolutely necessary.
And I
'cause
also
it's not
think-
worth it.
Hamilton doesn't have a closed-in area. Like, I know, like, Forest Park, like,
Right
once the
across
kids
the-
are in the playground area, like,
Right.
it's all fenced in, where Hamlin's a little more open, so I also think that
We're
sometimes
actually,
factors
we're
in.
actually fenced in the back now on
Yeah,
Yeah.
three sides, so that's good.
Right,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I think some of the schools are completely fenced in,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, they let them right off, and the fencing starts from the front of the school, right?
Yeah, like
outside.
Forest Park, they get off, it's just,
Yeah.
the fences,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a little easier to corral the
How do
kids.
you facility, that gate, is that open when the bus is
Yeah,
coming?
yeah, so there's a staff
So-
person right in front with the buses, and there's one at the gate, and there's like 2 or 3
In the back,
in
that's
the
not
recess
gated at all.
area.
Are you fenced in back now?
No,
No,
not from the
well,
gym to the,
we are kind of, because
Oh, what's-
between us and the train, there's a fence. It's not really a fence on the back. There might be one like way back, beyond the walking trail. But there's not a fenced-in designated playground.
Sherry,
The
I
woods
wonder,
line kind of
The
acts
woods
as
line
like
is
as a barrier for
Yeah.
a lot of some of the buildings, yeah, like it could exit, it's like woods.
Woods, right.
I was just gonna ask, talking with some parents, so kids that were exposed to home ec and didn't have home ec, when it got cut, so life skills some kids learned and didn't learn, could there ever be a drive from this committee to help? I know it would be funding to bring it back, but I think it's such a big thing that kids missed out on, just some basic skills. I don't know if there would ever be an interest or a way to bring that back.
No, but I think it's good to talk about it, and I know, it's definitely been talked about, like I know we're trying to start a CT, I know like they have a culinary, you can take a cooking class at the high school.
But that's different.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. It's
But,
a
like,
very
doing something
different
combined,
focus. Yeah.
Sort
Like
of
middle school is still like, you make the pillow and the pot holder. You learn how to
Yeah.
thread a needle. You know how,
I
like a
enjoy
simple
it,
hem.
like,
Yeah.
I always look forward to it.
Right. Whereas I think that CTE is a different focus. It's more structured for kids that are going on to culinary. It's a very different.
No,
space.
I meant, I
Yeah.
think the smart kids will actually just take the cooking class here.
Yeah.
Like, just as an extra, because then they'll know how to cook, but
Yeah.
are you thinking like for middle school though?
I'm thinking for middle school because it wasn't just cooking. It was some simple,
So-
learning
Like how to
to
sew a button.
measure. Simple,
Sewing,
yeah,
sewing.
sewing. But there's skills that kids,
Nutrition and stuff.
a
Nutrition.
20-year-old that doesn't know how to
Nutrition
sew a
stuff.
button or,
Yeah,
and just talking with people that have kids, some that went through and they're like, wow, they really missed out on this, or this kid learned this, and it's like a life skill that we're not teaching anymore.
Yeah,
Which
no,
is-
I think that could kind of be, I mean, I feel like health and wellness is broad, but you're right, like having life skills when you leave school is.
Yeah, and I
So
mean, I think they
important.
could work in nutrition or, to those cooking lessons, and I don't know. I know that would be funding, but I just think we find funding or grants for all different stuff. I just think, maybe there could be a drive from this committee to try to bring it back to middle
Yeah.
school. I was really sad when they took it out. Yeah.
No, I think that's good. And I mean, sometimes too, I'll be honest with you, finding teachers who have those skills to teach that I feel like were a little more prominent years ago than they are now.
Yeah, because adults don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I
Not-
heard on the
not-
radio the other day, this is a little digressing, but it was funny. It was about 70% of people didn't know what to do with the return addressed envelope for weddings. They didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that ridiculous? They don't know what they were supposed to do. And that's our,
Wow.
they didn't understand. That is kind of scary.
Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense though, because people aren't sending letters
They're
or
not.
messages or.
They don't know how to
As a language
address
artist,
envelopes
like,
and
teacher.
And I actually think all that, I'm
They
not sure, I
don't
know Forest
stand
Park did, and I
up?
started another school, and I can't think of which school, it might have been Quinnesset, has a mailbox in it, because they used to send letters, and a funny,
Stony Lane, do they still have
is it
that?
something, maybe it's
We
still,
have the We Deliver box, but we
Yeah.
haven't done it.
Yeah, we don't.
yeah, so I think maybe all the
But
schools.
they always talk about like bringing it back.
Oh, see, that was PTO driven. So we would volunteer, the
Yes.
kids loved it.
Yes.
They would write letters to
And
each
put on their
other,
little,
so they
like,
learned how to
post
address the letter,
office
write a letter.
shirts.
Yeah.
And then they
It's
delivered
so
it.
cute.
And the parents would run it, and then
Yeah.
they got to put the little jacket on and
Yeah.
go deliver.
I think
Right.
it's so
That
much
was
harder to
fun.
find the volunteer
Really?
numbers. Yes.
At the elementary level?
Yes.
So I
Well,
will-
I mean, I don't know, every
No,
PTO is
so
different,
funny
but-
Forest Park story, we actually did do it the last year when the girls were in 5th grade. And then the kids all put it in the mailbox. We couldn't open the mailbox because no one had the key for it. So we ended up having, we did and Ginny had opened, but it was so funny that we didn't actually think to check. So I was laughing when I was doing the school tours, and I was like, oh, they're at the other schools. Maybe we should figure out, like, you could do like a, school-wide.
But that's something maybe with the
Make sure we can
PTO,
open
they
them
can
all.
try to bring back. Like, to me, that's a
Yeah.
life skill.
It is.
To, you know,
I think
just
every
like,
PTO, like generation of PTO has its focus. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like our
Yeah.
PTO, like that school garden is just amazing.
Mhm.
It's genuine, and I feel like there's a lot of work into that.
yeah.
All right, so I will keep, I will, once I do the webinar, I'll put it back on the agenda for next time too, so I can kind of give an update of like how we could probably proceed for next steps and stuff. So our last thing on the agenda, because we moved it, was to approve the minutes from the April 30th, 2025 meeting. So if someone could make a motion, that would be great.
I make a motion to approve the minutes
And,
for 1/30/25.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
All right.
Like a dinosaur.
I'll dive a little deeper into
No, it's true, you know what?
standard